Welcome to another episode of Nature Pal Chats, a program that encourages nature study and learning about God's creation. Be sure to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. I'm Andy Gould.
I'm Shannon Kelly.
And I'm Christy Cox. Welcome back. We're so happy to have you here with us. Today, we're going to talk about literature and nature and what books have inspired us and our families. So I'm going to share first two different books that I just love. One is that I read when I was a child, and one book is that we've read to our boys. The first book is Mandy by Julie Andrews Edwards, and I think it was written in the 70s, actually. And it's about an orphan girl named Mandy. And she climbs over a wall at the orphanage and she finds a small cottage, and it's surrounded by wildflowers, and she decides to make the cottage her own, and she cleans it up and she tends to the garden, and it's just so beautifully written. And I think I was probably 8 or 9 when I first read this. And it was such an imaginative story that I would go outside and imagine I was Mandy and play in the woods and tidy up my cottage. And what I think, thinking back on the book now, I don't think I realized this when I was younger, but I love how she is an orphan and she's sad, but she finds this peace and refuge out in nature. And it's just such a beautiful story of how it truly is, like, and especially for myself, how nature is a place to find peace and refuge and just some solace in whatever circumstances that are going on. So I really recommend that book. It's a really sweet story. And the other one I wanted to share is My Side of the Mountain. And I can't believe I have not heard of this book before. But it was probably like 2 years ago, and I was talking to a cousin and she mentioned it, and I was like, what? This sounds like an amazing book. Why have I never heard of this? So I picked it up, and we actually read it while on a camping trip, which is a super cool time to read. Yeah, it's
like the perfect situation. I can't even
imagine
how fun that is.
So we would gather around the campfire, and we were out there for about a week. So it was the perfect time to read it. It's by Jean Craighead George. And if you have not read it, pick up a copy and read it because you will love it. Especially, I have 3 boys. So it's about a boy named Sam Gribley, and he ventures out on his own to the Catskill Mountains, and he sets up a house there in a hollowed out tree, and he befriends a weasel, and he has a falcon as a companion. And now my middle child, every time he's like, I just want to carry a piece of ham in my pocket, so if I see a falcon, I can lure it with the ham. Now he has, I love that he has this dream of having a pet falcon, from this book. But yeah, and he learns to live off the land and how to survive and survival tools. And so it's just a really great story, just to spark imaginative play and dream of having a pet falcon,
Mm-hmm. We just finished reading that, and I told last week we had tornadoes that came through, and right before the sirens went off, it was kind of looking weird outside, whatever, and then the sirens went off, and we found some shelter and safety, and then all of a sudden my daughter said, I can hear the birds again, I think it's safe to leave. And I said, that's exactly what Sam learned. He used the birds as his weather guide. He was watching for that nuthatch to go in and out of his house, and when he went in, Sam knew it was time to take shelter. And I love that it taught different ways to observe nature.
Yeah, that's so true. And it really is like a dying art form, I think, just relying on the signs of the seasons and, paying attention and having a watchful eye. So there's actually a science curriculum book. I'll have to look it up because I don't have it in front of me. It's a Dover book, and it talks about weather and how we could look at all the signs around us in nature, and we can, predict what's going to happen by that. So yeah, definitely put that book on your list if you have not read it yet, because you need to. Yeah. So
we were discussing which books we were going to share today, and I was very disappointed that you took that book, Christy.
I'm sorry. That's why I called dibs on it first, because I knew. I'm like, dibs, it's mine. But who's next?
We read Little Men last year, and we really had a lot of fun with this. As a teacher, I loved watching Jo and how she interacted with the boys and was teaching them, but they were outside so much, and the fact that she gave all of the boys their own piece of land that they could garden in, or they could do whatever they wanted. They were encouraged to take care of chickens if that's what they wanted to do, to make some money from the eggs. And I just loved how much they were getting them out in nature with a purpose. It wasn't just to go outside and play and get some vitamin D, but there was a reason that Jo and her husband were having the students go outside. And right now we are reading Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nimh. And this is really fun from a mouse's perspective and her taking care of her family. But there's so much, we're almost halfway through, and there's just so much description about the farm from different animals' perspectives. And it's fun to think about nature, that we see nature one way because we're humans and we've got this eye level, but birds see it different because they're up above, and mice see it differently because they're down below. And so it's fun to just think about nature in these different perspectives. And the last one is Heidi. And I was asking my children, I said, what books do you think that we should talk about? And they recommended Heidi because they're actually rereading it right now. They love this book. It's so fun, and it's the descriptions that she gives of the sun setting on the mountain and the flowers and the goats and everything. It's just so descriptive, and it puts you right there on the mountain with Heidi. And it's really a beautiful book.
I just want to add real quick that we have all of these titles in our Amazon shop. So if you want to see and check them out, head over to our Amazon shop. I believe, is that linked? It's linked in our blog, right? Our website.
And we'll have links to all of these books that you can go directly to find these books if you don't have them already.
Okay, so we read Swallows and Amazons. It was our first free read of this year. We did a book club with our friends, and it is such a fun book. It's about 4 children, 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and they're on vacation, and where they're staying, they can see an island, and they ask their mom if they can go stay there for a couple weeks during the summer by themselves. So she lets them take a boat. It's the Swallow, and take this boat across the river that they're staying across from and stay on this island by themselves. And they're just very responsible, and they have so much fun, and they meet these other kids, these 2 sisters, and they have a boat called the Amazon, and they're friends. They become friends, but they kind of have this little war on who can capture the other one's ship. And they just imagine pirates and all these different things going on around them. And it's just so fun to see like a totally different lifestyle. Like I can't even imagine sending my kids to an island across a river for like 3 weeks during the summer. And the mom's very lighthearted. She just comes and visits them every once in a while and brings them cake and stuff. But it's so fun. Like it's just like exactly the kind of childhood I would have imagined when I was younger. Like I would have loved doing something like that, or just imagine myself doing something like that. And our kids my kids still have printouts of the flags from the ships on their walls and a printout of the map, because the book made such an impression on them. But I would definitely pick that up, read that one. Your kids will love it. It's just such a fun adventure book. And then my second one is The Secret Garden. We're reading it for the second time right now. It's about a little girl who's born in India. She's very contrary. She's always been given everything she wants, and she doesn't even know it about herself, that she's just like such a mean person. But then her parents die, and she ends up having to go to England to live with her uncle. And just by she has nothing else to do, and she has no one. So they just send her outside, and she ends up spending time in the gardens that are surrounding this giant house. And she finds this bird, Robin Redbreast, that she just falls in love with, and she imagines him as her friend, and she starts meeting more and more people, and her attitude starts to change while she's out in the garden, and she becomes healthier. And they're just constantly telling her how they call it fatter. They tell her she's getting fatter, but like as in healthier, and her hair's getting thicker, and she's getting more and more energy, and she's starting to see herself change and her attitude change, and she's starting to see herself like people more. And it's just beautiful, like a beautiful picture of her being outside and how it's changing her perspective on the world. So I would definitely read that one also if you haven't. And my third one is The Swiss Family Robinson. It's kind of slow to start out with, but it's just a beautiful story about a family. The father is just like everybody's dream father, and just their life out on this island and how they live. It's really pretty story. So those are my three. Do you guys have anything else to share?
Do you know what I love? Like just listening to you all share and thinking about the books that I chose as well. There's like this common theme of there isn't a parent there guiding their play, and it's the children off on their own in, this fantasy type situation. Boys are like this adventure. The girls are surrounded by flowers and beauty and all this kind of stuff. And it's just a really cool reminder of how we should be allowing our children, not necessarily going to an island,
Well, even the same with My Side of the Mountain, the parents just let him go.
Yes,
I know, but it's
My Side of the Mountain. I felt like when the parents came back and the mom was like, nope, it's my job to take care of you. And I thought, this is exactly what it is. It is our job to provide for our children and take care of them, but it's also our job to let them go and make discoveries on their own.
Exactly. And it's like, and these are the classic books that have like lasted, and that generation after generation people are reading, because this is what we truly desire. Like from a young age, that's what we want. We want to just be able to go out, use our imagination, and just get lost in it, just step away from, our daily routines and just be and enjoy the surroundings that God gave us. So I think it's just really cool to sit back and listen and hear that that's like the common theme throughout all of these stories. So
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again, you guys. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can check us out on Instagram at Nature Pal Exchange and our website, naturepalexchange.com. And don't forget to visit our Amazon store if you want to check out any of these books.